I'm Sir Walter D, and this is my human necromancer, Sierra. Welcome to my Guild Wars 2 PvE Beginner's Guide. As a new player, your priorities should be simple and straightforward. Level 80 is the highest achievable level, and you would prefer to hit it sooner rather than later. But more importantly than that is your desire to have a great dynamic experience getting there. Now let's get something straight. Getting to level 80 is not difficult to do. When the game first came out, a character reached max level in under 48 hours. My fastest is about 6 days. As a new player, you absolutely shouldn't aim to get a character up so fast. There is simply too much to learn about the game dynamics, profession mechanics, and world story to justify skipping so much content. That being said, it is still possible to simultaneously have quick progress and a comprehensive experience with the game. Having some knowledge about the mechanics of experience and some tips about the workings of the game can make achieving that goal easier. To start off, I'm going to tell you about where the world bosses are in the starting zones. They generally shouldn't be fought before level 15, but you will see people talking ceaselessly about them on map chat, so knowing where they are can definitely help. Keep in mind, though you can receive access to a reward chest for defeating any of these bosses, the greatest reward, the guaranteed rare item, can only be received after hitting level 40. Also, reward chests can only be opened once per event, per day, per character. As a new character, you are not restricted from fighting any of these bosses. As a matter of fact, it is expected and fully encouraged for you to visit all of the starting zones regardless of your race. By using the PvP zone known as the Mists, you can quickly teleport to the central hub of the game, Lion's Arch, and inside Lion's Arch there are Azura gates that will take you to any of the racial starting zones. The race of the guards immediately outside of the gates will tell you exactly which zone those gates go to. Before we move on, though I'm not going to be covering many gameplay mechanics in this video, I am still obligated to tell you about damage mitigation versus damage negation. The combat of most MMOs to date was built around the idea of some classes being tankier, or in other words, able to mitigate damage more easily than other classes. It is this discrepancy in the durability of different classes that dictates group composition. Guild Wars 2 has damage mitigation to a much smaller degree than the average MMO, and instead, death is usually avoided through damage negation, avoiding incoming damage completely. There are many ways to negate damage, including blocks and spells, but one common to every character in the game is dodging. Learn how to dodge correctly early on, because you will need to dodge in order to survive the most difficult sections of the game. Now on a different note, here are a couple small tips to help you play more efficiently. Holding left control will display names above people and objects. This helps to find objectives in some events and hearts. And when you mine ore, chop trees, and harvest plants, you can quickly deposit them into a special collectibles tab in your bank from anywhere in the world. Beware though, the collectibles tab only supports up to 250 of any item. Now on to hearts. A mistake many new players make as they come into Guild Wars 2 for the first time is to think hearts are the main objective of the game. Many people see them as quests, like you might find in other MMOs, and consequently, many new players will labor for hours trying to complete every one they come across from scratch. This can get very boring, and this drives a few people to quit entirely. Though hearts are a source of experience and currency in the game, I want to make it clear that they are absolutely not intended to be the main source of either. In many cases, hearts are time-consuming to complete, time better spent looking for events or exploring the map. Instead, use hearts as a source of immersion, and try to finish them by completing dynamic events in their areas. As a rule of thumb, finish the hearts you have already made significant headway in, but skip the ones that are still empty. Events are much more important for your character's progression, not because they give out any more experience than hearts, they give out far less actually. The strength of dynamic events is that there are literally thousands of them spread throughout the game. They are the main source of variety and enjoyment in Guild Wars 2. Though frequently the objectives might resemble ones from events you've done in the past, wait around after the event ends to see if it changes into something else more unique. and pay attention to the dialogue of the characters leading you, and notice the changes in the world you are facilitating by helping them. Dynamic events are also useful because they often contribute towards nearby hearts, and there is massive experience to be gained from completing a heart and an event simultaneously. Now on to map exploration. The greatest sources of experience when exploring the map come from skill point challenges, discovering waypoints, vistas, and from points of interest. Skill point challenges are like dynamic events, but much less varied. They typically involve clearing an area so that you can attune with a specific spot, or killing a particularly powerful foe. Rarely, skill point challenges will include other things like shooting cannons, finishing jumping puzzles, or drinking cups of goo. Skill point challenges reward you with experience and a skill point. Don't be afraid to spend your skill points, they are incredibly common, and by the time you hit 80, you'll have no idea what to do with all of the ones you've amassed. Discovering waypoints is a very important task, independent of the experience it gives you. It's always a good idea to go out of your way to unlock any waypoint you see on your minimap in your area. Also, if you can't find the waypoint once you get there, it could potentially be underneath you in a vault, lake, or cavern. Vistas are not that great when it comes to experience. However, getting to them can often be a fun challenge, and they really exist to showcase the beauty of the game's environments. Some vistas are harder to get to than others, however, with some requiring the completion of an entire jumping puzzle just to reach it. Points of interest exist to differentiate certain areas of the map. They do not give out much experience, but they are required to find for the purposes of map completion. Map completion involves finishing all hearts and skill point challenges and finding all waypoints, vistas, and points of interest in any particular zone. The reward for map completion is minimal at the lower levels, but in the higher level zones, the rewards become much more valuable. Gathering will net very small amounts of experience each swing, but always contributes towards daily achievement progress. Daily and monthly achievements are great for earning experience and certain very rare, very valuable pieces of equipment. Every day, 9 challenges are selected, and upon the completion of 5, reward the character with experience, 1 laurel, 1 jug of karma, 1 mystic coin, and a level-specific amount of money. These challenges often include killing enemies in specific zones, completing story missions, spending karma, or a variety of other potential objectives. Finding 20 gatherables and killing 10 invaders in World vs. World are the only challenges that consistently appear every day. Story missions are also a good source of experience, but generally require much more time and effort to complete than normal events. These missions are intended to be enjoyed rather than blown through, so take your time. It's important to remember that while you're at work quickly gaining levels, your equipment is slowly becoming obsolete. The current in-game economy provides very reasonable prices on most equipment pieces, so I suggest overhauling your armor and trinkets at least once every 10 levels and your weapons once every 5. Also, consumables are an important game mechanic often overlooked by new players. At any one point in time, you can have long-term buffs on your character originating from one food item and from one oil, potion, stone, or crystal consumable. These items are typically very affordable and can be purchased at the trading post. There are other mechanisms for gaining experience that I didn't mention in this video, and starting at level 30, you will definitely want to start running dungeons. Another thing to mention is that a new player can greatly enhance their enjoyment in Guild Wars 2 by joining a good guild. There are many massive guilds around that would love to have you in them, and with access to the knowledge of some of Guild Wars 2's oldest veterans, you can ensure that you are playing effectively and enjoyably. My next video will be a basic overview of the professions of Guild Wars 2 and where they currently stand in the realms of PvE, World vs. World, and PvP. Thank you very much for watching.